Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to English with Sarah and James, your weekly podcast for improving your English in a fun and practical way. I'm Sarah.
And I'm James. Great to be back. Today, we're tackling a topic many travelers find stressful, even native speakers sometimes.
That's right, James. We're talking about navigating airport security and customs. It can be daunting with all the rules and specific language.
Absolutely. So, in this episode, we'll give you essential vocabulary, phrases, and tips to help you breeze through airport procedures confidently.
We'll have our usual chat full of useful language, then break down some key vocabulary. Get ready to make your next airport experience smoother.
Let's dive in.
So, James, I was thinking about our students. Many travel internationally, and airport security and customs can be quite an ordeal if you're not prepared.
You're right, Sarah. I had a student who got flustered when a security officer used the phrase empty his pockets, and he didn't quite catch it. He just froze.
Oh, poor thing. Simple instructions can catch you off guard when nervous. Let's discuss common phrases and expectations. What's the first hurdle?
After check-in, it's security screening. You'll often hear them say to have your boarding pass and ID ready. Straightforward enough. Then the conveyor belt.
Ah, the conveyor belt, where you divest yourself of belongings. Carry-on luggage, shoes, belts into bins. They might say to take laptops out of bags.
Exactly. And liquids, a big one. Containers of 100 milliliters or less in a single, transparent, resealable bag. They often say no liquids, aerosols, or gels over the limit, or LAGs for short.
LAGs, good to know. What if the metal detector beeps even when you've removed everything? What then?
Don't panic. The officer might ask you to step aside, please, or to raise your arms for a pat-down. A pat-down means a hand check for prohibited items.
Good point. Remain calm and cooperative. Understanding instructions is key. What about customs? After landing, right?
That's right. Customs checks what you bring into the country. You'll fill a customs declaration form, maybe on the plane. Then they might ask if you have anything to declare.
So, the question about having anything to declare means if you have items you need to pay duty on or restricted items. What if you're unsure about declaring something?
Be honest. You could say something like, I am not sure if I need to declare this, but I have this item, and then show it. Being upfront saves trouble.
Wise advice. I've heard people talk about going through the red channel or the green channel. Can you explain?
Sure. Green channel for nothing to declare, red for those who do. If unsure, go red or ask an officer. Better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely. And remember, politeness like please and thank you helps even when stressed.
Definitely. Politeness costs nothing and smooths the process for everyone.
Okay, that was a really helpful discussion, James. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the vocabulary we used. I think there are a few expressions our listeners would really benefit from reviewing.
Sounds good, Sarah. What's our first one?
Let's start with divest yourself of. I used it when talking about putting items on the conveyor belt at security. Divest yourself of is a rather formal way of saying to get rid of something or to take off items of clothing or accessories.
That's a good one. So, for pronunciation, divest is die-vest with the stress on the second syllable. And yourself of flows together. So, divest yourself of. Can you give us an example sentence, Sarah?
Certainly. For instance, passengers are required to divest themselves of all metal objects before passing through the security scanner. A simpler way to say this might be to take off or to remove.
Good. So, take off or remove are good synonyms. What's next on our list, Sarah?
How about pat down? You mentioned this, James, when talking about what happens if the metal detector beeps. A pat down is a noun, and it refers to a search where a security officer pats your body over your clothes to check for concealed items.
Yes, a pat down. For pronunciation, it's pretty straightforward. Pat down. Stress on the first word, pat, and it's a compound noun. So how would you use it in a sentence?
You could say, after the alarm went off, I was asked to step aside for a pat down. Or the security officer performed a quick pat down. A related expression could be a body search, though a pat down is generally less intrusive.
That's clear. So pat down is a specific type of search. Our listeners should remember that. What's our third vocabulary item?
Let's look at to declare. We talked about this in the context of customs. To declare means to make an official statement about something, especially goods you are bringing into a country on which you may have to pay tax.
Right. Declare is declare with the stress on the second syllable. The I in de is a schwa sound, like duh. So, declare. What's an example sentence, Sarah?
You must declare any goods that exceed the duty-free allowance. Or, as we said, the customs officer might ask, do you have anything to declare?
And if you have nothing to declare, you can say, I have nothing to declare. A synonym for declare in this context could be to state officially or to announce.
Exactly. And finally, James, let's touch upon the idiom better to be safe than sorry. You used it when talking about choosing the red channel if unsure. What does it mean?
Better to be safe than sorry is a very common idiom. It means it's wiser to take precautions and be careful, even if it seems unnecessary, than to regret not doing so later if something bad happens. For pronunciation, just say it naturally as a whole phrase. Better to be safe than sorry.
A great idiom and very applicable to many situations, not just at the airport. For example, I think I'll take an umbrella even though it's sunny. Better to be safe than sorry.
That's a perfect example. So, to recap, we had divest yourself of, pat down, to declare, and the idiom better to be safe than sorry. I hope our listeners find these useful.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of English with Sarah and James. We hope our discussion today has made navigating airport security and customs seem a little less intimidating.
Remember, preparation and understanding the common language used can make a huge difference to your travel experience. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification if you need it.
That's right. Practice the phrases we discussed and try to use them in your mind next time you're at an airport. The more you familiarize yourself with them, the more confident you'll feel.
Keep practicing, keep learning, and we'll be back next week with another topic to help you on your English learning journey. Thanks for listening.
Bye for now.